மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.
Another good condition for the queen to overcome the light pieces is the presence of passed pawns or more pawns on the board, especially if they are passers in our favor. And the reason for that is not only that the pawns can become extremely strong and they can be promoted, and the side with the pieces is always looking for ways to stop them. But the other thing, which is probably more important, is that the pawns are taking a lot of the air from the light pieces, thus not allowing to them to show their full activity. Like we saw in the previous samples, the light pieces are usually trying to put their efforts together against one of the enemy pawns and to take it. Here the pawns are actually opposing this by being advanced further on, and they also take away the squares from the pieces. The game that we're about to see is Malakhatko against Kuzmin. Malakhatko played d5. In this situation, as you can see, the pawns are taking a lot of the squares of the pieces already. They're standing together. This is the optimal setup. And also, of course, black is under the danger of losing a piece immediately with the move d6. In this game, black reacted knight g6, which didn't help him much. The other move that have been seen already in this situation was knight e5, and that was the course of the game between Ribli with the black pieces against Dotov. After knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, the game developed in a similar way. Rook e1 first, bishop f6, queen takes d3, rook d8, b4, and after bishop e6 that pawn went on d6, so white created a very strong pawn chain, and now he was looking for a good moment to try and to bring it into motion. It came after knight c6 when he even sacrificed the exchange. Okay, it was much easier for white to choose this option because he also had two pawns in addition to the queen, but it's generally a good thing for you to remember if you're trying to improve your position. On many occasions, it's worth looking the sacrifices of the exchange, especially if you can after that push your pawns like it is here. Queen e4, king h8 was played, and pawns went on moving. Queen takes b7. The free passers, supported by the queen, made white's task relatively easy, and he went on to win this game. Back to the game that we're analyzing in the moment. Knight g6 was answered b4, knight d to e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5 was played, because if black takes with the knight, then of course there will be queen d4 followed by d6. The knight cannot stay forever on e5, once again thanks to the many pawns that white has. After that it would be kicked away with a move like f4. So therefore bishop takes e5 was played, rook a to e1, bishop d7, queen is taking that pawn on d3 finally, a6, black is threatening to take the exchange, the rook on f1. But white is not so worried about it. He's even giving it at once with the move d6. For him it's important to get rid of this blockading piece, the bishop on d7. He's not against giving the exchange. On the contrary, he's actively searching for a way to sacrifice the exchange, but to get these pawns moving. Rook f e8 was played here, queen d2. Now rook e6, and if he doesn't want to take the exchange, then it's time to limit the black pieces. f4 is coming next. There is nothing that black can do to stop this. He played rook e8, rook e3, f5, rook e1. The threat is obviously f4. After that, after all these trades, this pawn would be moving. Or first white can also insert the move queen d5 to make use of the pin. Black played f4 himself, rook e4, and he tried to attack this rook. But like we said, we are not worried about taking the rook on e4. On the contrary, the main thing that we want to achieve is the advance of the pawns. And indeed, here taking on e4 would be losing after rook takes e4. White's plan is very obvious. Queen d5 followed by d7, b5, c6. The pawns are rolling. Nobody can stop them. And also these two pawns can be hanging on many lines. If after e4 black takes the pawn on a4, this will lose because of queen a2, which is double attack against the bishop on e5 and against the bishop on a4, thanks to the pin. And what happened in the game was king f8 instead. Now d7, and with small tactics, white is gaining some material. This is the move rook takes e5, rook takes e5, rook takes, knight takes, and he managed to transpose into another material imbalance, the so-called Lasker compensation. We're about to cover it in some clips. Here concretely, the Lasker compensation is not enough. Even though black managed to place his pawn on f3 and to create some mating threads, they quickly disappeared after white's correct setup. The king came out. The queen and the pawn are definitely better than the rook and the bishop, and white went on to win this game. You can look for it for yourselves. It's out of our team for the time being. What you need to remember is that the passed pawns, especially when connected, are taking a lot of squares from the pieces, and a good tool for the queen to fight against the white pieces.
மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.